While attention is focused on what's being said, we look at what's being missed. This is the outside lens. There's a moment in congressional hearings that most people tune out. It's not the shouting, it's not the voting, it's the amendments. That's where intent hides. Today's exchange looks like a technical debate over childcare information for college students, but that's not what it's really about.
I reserve point of order.
A point of order is reserved. I now recognize the gentlelady from Minnesota to speak on her amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, we are considering a bill that not only fails to provide true support for students, but is especially insincere given the choices over the past year. I was once a young pregnant student. My two older children were born while I was in college. I know very deeply and personally what the needs of these students are. And I know that if the current day policies of this administration and this majority were in place when I was in school, there is no doubt in my mind that I would have been set up for failure. Look at the reality that the Republicans are fighting for. Over $1 trillion in cuts to food stamps, health care, and student loan programs. A complete lack of meaningful wraparound services to assist the nearly 60% of students who experience food or housing insecurity today. And an administration that has tried to completely eliminate funds from C-Campus program that helps provide childcare for college students. Today, nearly 1 in 5 of all undergrad students are raising children. These students have to balance immense responsibilities while struggling to find affordable childcare. The role of government should be to make their lives easier, not unbearably hard and confusing.
Representative Ilhan Omar introduces an amendment tied to a federal program that helps low-income college students afford childcare. She does something unusual. Instead of asking for more money, she asks for more explanation. Her amendment would require schools to disclose whether childcare funding was discontinued and why. That sounds harmless. But in Washington, explanations are dangerous. Omar grounds her argument in personal history. She describes herself as a pregnant student raising children while in college. Then she makes a quiet accusation. Not that the system is imperfect, but that current policies are designed in a way that quietly selects who fails. She points to food insecurity, housing insecurity, cuts to social programs. And then she focuses on something specific, childcare funding that was cut off at certain campuses, not because of performance, but ideology. That word matters. Because the amendment does not restore funding, it simply asks students to be told the truth about what happened, and that is where resistance appears. The opposition does not deny the importance of childcare. Instead, they argue something else, that too much information could confuse students, that grant cycles change, that old decisions might not be relevant anymore. In other words, the concern is not accuracy, the concern is visibility, because once students can see where support disappeared, the question changes. It's no longer, why didn't you succeed? It becomes, why was support removed? And that is a harder question to manage. In the end, the amendment fails, not because childcare isn't important, but because transparency is. And transparency shifts responsibility. That's the part no one says out loud.
Yet the last fall, this administration chaotically cut off C-Campus programs at over a dozen colleges. Why? Because they decided those schools didn't pass their ideological purity test. My amendment requires additional information and explanation about whether schools have their C-Campus funds arbitrarily canceled by this administration. It is critical that students receive comprehensive information about all available choices and resources. It is even more critical that they receive tangible, consistent childcare accommodations should they need them. If my colleagues across the aisle are serious about truly supporting pregnant and parenting students, then they should join me in supporting this amendment. Thank you, and I yield back.
I thank the gentlelady. Does the gentleman continue to reserve his point of order?
I withdraw my point of order.
The reservation is withdrawn. Does anyone else seek recognition on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman?
Does the gentleman from Indiana seek recognition on the amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak.
You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate my colleagues' highlight of the child care access means parents and school partnership, the C Campus program, but I'm opposed to this amendment. This amendment would provide information on C Campus that is duplicative and even confusing to pregnant students. As part of their C Campus application, institutions must already show that they support the student participation in the program. Student outreach is already a requirement for any institution receiving C Campus grants. C Campus also specifically is designed to support low-income students as determined through Pell Grant eligibility, which may not apply to all pregnant students. This amendment also asks schools to provide information dating back 10 years. C Campus grants are given in 4-year cycles, meaning a student may receive information about an old grant cycle from years ago that has no relevance to her. This amendment also places a vague burden on institutions to describe the circumstances surrounding the discontinuation. There could have been a litany of reasons why a school did not receive another C Campus grant in the past 10 years, many of which have no relevance to the pregnant student. I would also like to highlight encouraging action taken by this administration to streamline C Campus through interagency agreements with HHS. As HHS has already oversees child care focused grants, this partnership will bring much needed efficiency and coherent guidelines to the execution of the C Campus program. Thank you, and I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Is there further debate on the amendment? If not, the question is on the amendment by the gentlelady from Minnesota. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no? No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it, and the amendment is not agreed to.
I ask for recorded vote, Mr. Chair.
What makes this moment worth remembering isn't the vote, it's how narrow the disagreement actually was. No one argued that student parents don't exist. No one argued that childcare isn't a barrier. No one argued that funding hasn't been cut. The disagreement was about something quieter, whether students should be able to see when support disappears and why. Because once that information is visible, failure stops looking personal and starts looking procedural. That's why amendments like this don't fail loudly, they fail efficiently, with reasons that sound reasonable. And by the time the vote is gavelled through, the system remains exactly as it was, just less examined. That's where we'll leave it. Not with an answer, but with the part of the question most people move past.